Hello, I'm Julie, and we're taking inspiration from the Autry Museum's collection and showing you how to make crocheted objects that you can use at home. For this project, we were inspired by the Autry's large collection of historic orange crate labels. You can find more of the orange crate labels on the Autry website through the online collections database. For our crochet project, we'll be making an eyeglass or phone pouch, whichever is more useful or more interesting to you. I'll demonstrate first how to crochet a square motif, paying homage to the Autry's Orange Crate label collection, and then I'll show you how to join them together to make the glasses case. For this project, you'll need DK weight yarn in any fiber in orange, peach, blue, and green. You'll also need a G or 4mm crochet hook, scissors, and a tapestry needle. In this project, we're going to make the orange first, which is represented by a circle, and then we'll add a square around it. I'll then show you how to make the orange slice, which is a little more complex. This project involves working in the round, which means we'll start in the middle of the orange and then we'll work around it, one round at a time. At the end of each round, we'll connect it to the beginning of that round and then move to the next one. When working in the round, the first thing we need to do is to create a center ring. And that's where we place all of the stitches from the first round. To make the center ring, my preferred method is to use a loose slip knot like this. Although there are several other ways to create this center ring, and there are also several other names for it. To make a slip knot in general, you cross the tail end of the yarn over the yarn ball side of the yarn to make this loop, and then you draw up yarn from the yarn ball side, pulling it through that loop and hold on to the tail to tighten. For a loose slip knot, you're going to start off the same way by crossing the tail over the yarn ball side, and then draw the yarn through that loop. But this time, don't tighten so much, just a little bit, leaving it like that. And this is going to serve as your active loop for now, and this will be your center ring where you will be working all of the stitches from round one. So let's insert our hook into the active loop, and we're going to make 2 chain stitches, which work both to secure the center ring and also bring you up to the level where you can start working on round one. So to make a chain stitch, you're going to insert the hook into that active loop. Then you yarn over by drawing the yarn over the hook and draw that through the active loop. And now you have a new active loop. Now you'll yarn over again to make the second chain, and you draw that yarn through the active loop. So you have your 2 chain stitches in order to secure the center ring. For round one, we'll be making 12 double crochet stitches in the center ring. So to make a double crochet stitch, what you do is you yarn over the hook, and then you insert the hook into the center ring and drop the yarn back through that center ring so that you have 3 loops on your hook. Now you'll yarn over and draw that yarn through 2 loops. You'll have 2 loops left on your hook, yarn over and draw through the remaining 2 loops. That was your first double crochet. Let's work another one. yarn over your hook, insert the hook into the center ring, and draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through 2 of those loops. Yarn over and draw through the remaining 2 loops. So we'll continue making double crochet stitches in the center ring until you have all 12 of them. Once you have all 12 stitches, you can tug on the tail from your loose slip knot so that you can shrink that center ring. Once you've done that, you'll skip the 2 chain stitches that you made and make a slip stitch in the first double crochet stitch that you made of this round. So, skipping the 2 chain stitches, we find this first double crochet stitch, and we insert the hook under the front and back loops, draw up a loop so that we'll have 2 loops on our hook. We draw now the top loop through the bottom loop, and that's a slip stitch to join the last stitch that we made to the first stitch that we made of that round, making it into a circle. We can continue to pull on this tail to shrink that center ring. It'll get more stable the more rounds that we put on the circle. Now we'll chain 2, moving up to round 2. For this round, we're going to work 2 double crochet stitches in each double crochet stitch that we made in round 1. So to do that, we'll yarn over before inserting the hook, insert the hook under the front loop and the back loop from this double crochet stitch from round 1, and then you yarn over and draw this yarn back through that double crochet stitch. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through the remaining 2 loops. Now we're going to make a second double crochet stitch in the same place, in the very same double crochet stitch from round 1. So yarn over, insert your hook in the same place as you did for the last stitch, and then draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and draw through 2 loops, yarn over and draw through the remaining 2 loops. Now we'll continue to make 2 double crochet stitches in each stitch around. You'll have 24 double crochet stitches in total, and each time that you make 2 stitches in 1 stitch, like we're doing here, it's called an increase. So we'll be increasing from the 12 double crochet stitches from round 1 to 24 double crochet stitches in round 2. once you have your 24 double crochet stitches, you'll make a slip stitch to the first double crochet stitch of the round. So you skip over the chain stitches there and inserting the hook into the top of the double crochet stitch. We're going to draw up a loop, 2 loops on the hook. Now draw the top loop through the bottom loop. Moving on to round 3, this round we're going to work half double crochet stitches. So to get up to the half double crochet, we're going to simply chain 1. And now they're going to be worked in a different pattern than from the last round. We're going to make 1 half double crochet stitch in the first stitch and 2 in the second, and then 1 stitch in the third and 2 in the fourth stitch. So the pattern will be 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 1 stitch, 2 stitch. So yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch and draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, and it looks just like a double crochet stitch to this point. But the only difference is when we yarn over, we draw that through all 3 loops at the same time. So now we'll move on to the next stitch. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next stitch, draw up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. We'll make a second stitch in the same place, the second half double crochet stitch. Yarn over, insert the hook, draw up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. So we'll continue on around round 3, alternating between 1 half double crochet stitch and 2 half double crochet stitches and as we go along. And as you can see, I have one where I finished that round. We're at the last stitch, and now I just need to make the slip stitch. So I'm going to insert the hook into the top of the first half double crochet stitch that I made. I'm going to draw up the yarn right back through it. I have 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to draw that top loop through the bottom loop. Now I want to fasten off, so I'll get my scissors and cut the yarn. Now I'm going to draw the end through the loop, and that's fastening off, and we finished with the first orange. Now we're going to continue on with the outside of the orange, or the square that surrounds it, using blue yarn. Okay, so we have our orange circle and we want to add the blue to it. So to do that, we're going to make a slip knot, and we're going to insert the hook in the back loop of any stitch around the circle. So the back loop is the loop that's further away from you, not the closer one, but the one that's further away. So insert the hook right between the front loop and the back loop. And then you're going to draw the loop from your slip knot back through the back loop and shrink that loop, making a chain to bring you to round 4. Now we're going to make a half double crochet stitch, so yarn over, insert the hook, draw up a loop, and we'll yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. Now we'll continue making half double crochet stitches, making 6 of them, in total for now. So 1 in each stitch for 6 stitches. 3, and here's 4, 5, and 6. So right now we are making this orange circle to form a blue square with an orange inside. So after we've made these 6 stitches, which form one of the sides of the square, we need to think about the corners. So to make a corner, we're going to make a double crochet stitch in the next stitch. And then here's the real corner, is 2 double crochet stitches, one chain stitch, and 2 more double crochet stitches in the very same place. And these stitches are all in the back loop only, as we're going to continue that for the rest of this round. So that was our corner. We're going to, in the next stitch, make another double crochet stitch. And then in the next 6 stitches, we're going to make 1 half double crochet stitch in each stitch. Great. So now we're going to start working on the next corner. So after those 6 half double crochet stitches, we'll make 1 double crochet stitch in the next stitch. And then in this corner, we'll do 2 double crochet stitches, one chain, and 2 more double crochet stitches. And we'll make 1 double crochet stitch in the next stitch. So we'll continue on around doing exactly the same thing, where for each side we have 6 half double crochet stitches. For each corner we have 1 double crochet stitch, and then the next stitch it's 2 double crochet stitches, 1 chain, 2 double crochet stitches, and in the next stitch it's 1 double crochet stitch. And we'll do that until we get to the end of this round. Okay, so now we've made all the stitches of this round. We made the final corner with 2 double crochets, 1 chain, and 2 more double crochet stitches. And then in the last stitch, we placed 1 double crochet stitch. Now we're going to slip stitch to the first half double crochet stitch that we made at the beginning of the round. So insert the hook into the top of that half double crochet stitch, draw up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, and draw the top loop through the bottom loop. Great. So now let's move on to round 5. For round 5, we're going to make 1 chain and then a single crochet stitch in the first stitch. So let's insert the hook into that stitch and draw up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and draw through both loops. That's a single crochet stitch. Let's make another in the next stitch. Insert the hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, and draw through both loops. Now you'll do the same thing in the next 7 stitches. Once you've made the 7th single crochet stitch, you'll see that the next place to work is the chain space. So you'll see it makes a space here, and we actually don't work in the stitch, we work below the chain between these 2 taller double crochet stitches. And in this corner, we're going to place 1 single crochet stitch, a chain, and then another single crochet stitch. Now we'll continue down the next side, making a single crochet stitch on top of each stitch from the last round. Once we get to this corner, we're going to, again, make a single crochet stitch, a chain, and another single crochet stitch, all in that chain 1 space. And we'll continue working around in the same manner. And you'll see that once we get all the way around here, I'll demonstrate this. We want to put our last single crochet stitch, and then we'll slip stitch to the first single crochet stitch of the round. And then we'll fasten off by cutting the yarn and drawing that end through the loop and then tightening. We have the finished square. Now, once we have worked a single crochet stitch in every stitch around, then we'll insert the hook into the first single crochet stitch we made of the round, draw up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, draw the top loop through the bottom loop, we'll grab our scissors and cut the yarn and draw the end through the loop. So now you've completed your whole orange. Let's see how to do the sliced orange. If you decide to make the sliced orange, you start the pattern in the same way as for the first 2 rounds of the whole orange. I will quickly review those here. So for round 1, you make the loose slip knot, chain 2, and then work 12 double crochet stitches in the center ring. Then you slip stitch to the first double crochet stitch that you made in that round and chain 2. For round 2, you work 2 double crochet stitches in each stitch around for a total of 24 double crochet stitches in the round. For the slip stitch that you need to make in order to connect the round, we're going to switch colors because we want to join the peach for the next round. So this is where we do that. So you take the yarn, the peach yarn, and draw the yarn back through that first double crochet stitch, the top of that first double crochet stitch. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Draw the top loop through the bottom loop. And to secure, you just want to tug on the ends of both colors in the back. Now we're going to make a round of single crochet stitches and variation of single crochet. So we'll chain 1, and then in that same stitch where we did the join, we want to make 2 single crochet stitches. Okay, great. In the next stitch, we'll do 1 single crochet. So insert the hook, draw up a loop. We have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and draw through both loops. And in the next stitch, it's 2 single crochet stitches again. Insert the hook, draw up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and draw through both loops. And you do your second one. Now the next stitch is a little bit different. It's still a variation of a single crochet stitch, but it is a very long single crochet stitch called a spike stitch. And to do that, we insert our hook in the center ring, all the way in the middle of the circle. And we're going to, once we put the hook through, draw the yarn back, the peach yarn, back through that center and draw it all the way up to the outer edge or outer circumference of the circle. We'll have, these are 2 loops on the hook, and we yarn over and draw through both loops. If it's a little bit loose like that, you might want to tighten it up a little first. Sometimes you just have to try a few times to make sure that it's done the way you want it to be done. So draw up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, it's a little better this time, and yarn over and draw through both loops. Okay, so that's the first segment. Now we need to keep on making orange segments around the circle. So the next stitch, oh, and please note that it needs to cover 1 stitch. We're skipping a stitch that's underneath this spike that we made. So the next stitch we place 2 single crochet stitches, and then in the next stitch 1 single crochet stitch, and in the following stitch we have 2 single crochet stitches. And now it's time for another spike in the next stitch or over the next stitch. So we insert the hook in the center ring, draw up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and draw through both loops. Again, if you're not happy with how tight this is, you can simply do it again and straighten it out as you like it. So that's 2 single crochet stitches, 1 single crochet stitch, 2 single crochet stitches, and spike. So I have this already made where we've gone all the way around, and now we just need to finish it off. So to finish this round, we're going to insert the hook into the first single crochet stitch that we made, and we're going to change colors. We're going back to the orange, and to go back to the orange, I'm going to draw up the yarn and then draw the top loop through the bottom loop. In this next round, we're going to chain 1 and make a single crochet stitch, and this is a much simpler round, as we'll make a single crochet stitch in each of the stitches all the way around, so that you have a total of 36 single crochet stitches, as you haven't increased at all from the peach round. So both rounds you'll have the same number of single crochet stitches. And you see you can work on the top of this spike stitch just the same as any other single crochet stitch, as the top should look relatively the same. Now, once you've finished that round, you'll slip stitch to finish it with orange, and you'll fasten off. And then, once you've fastened off, you're going to connect the blue yarn the same way that you did for the whole orange. So you can see the two of them side by side here. But once you connect the blue yarn, you're going to chain 1 and you're going to do it exactly the same way as you did when you did the whole orange. So you chain 1 and then half double crochets for 6 stitches, the double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 double crochet stitches, chain 1, 2 double crochet stitches, double crochet stitch, 6 half double crochet stitches, double crochet stitch, 2 double crochet stitches, chain 1, 2 double crochet stitches, and so on all the way around. And in the last round, after you've secured it with the slip stitch, you'll work a single crochet stitch for each of the sides. In the corner, you'll do single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and continue on until you get to the last stitch, and there you'll work a slip stitch and fasten off. So then you'll have 2 different squares that you can work with. You can connect the 2 different ones. You can make grapefruits and oranges. You can slice any sort of citrus you like. Unfortunately, this doesn't look as much like a lemon, but maybe from one angle you could have a lemon. In any case, I will show you now how to join the pieces together. So now we're going to join the squares together. We're going to sew 2 squares together to make a rectangle, and we do this with the other 2 squares as well. So then you'll have 2 rectangles. So to sew these squares together, we're going to start in the corner, any corner you like, and take your tapestry needle that has your yarn that you used to make the square, and go under the front loop, so the one that's closest to you, and then you're going to go under the corresponding loop in the other square, so that the back loops are both together here, We're not going to touch the back loops for now. So draw the yarn through, leaving at least 3-4 inches as a tail, and then going to go to the next stitch and going under that front loop only, going back in the other direction, and going to the next stitch, again back in the other direction. And we'll keep on going down the seam. So once we've sewn these 2 squares together, we do need to sew in the ends as well. And we want to do that on the back side of the rectangle that we've made. So just insert the tapestry needle somewhere to bring the yarn to the back side there. And then you're going to insert the yarn under at least 3, but preferably 5, 6, 7, 8 strands of yarn, and pull it all the way under those, not tugging too hard, but a little bit too hard maybe, and then pulling it back so that it's not too hard, not too tight. And now we're going to skip 1 strand and work our way all the way back. Again, under at least 3, but preferably more. And we're going to do that one last time. It doesn't have to be in exactly the same place, but we do want to go the generally the same direction that we came from, skipping just that first strand of yarn, or that first loop of some kind. And staying on this back side of the project so that our sewing is not as obvious. So once we've done that, we can cut the end and we'll start work on the other side. Now, while you're at it and you have the tapestry needle and your scissors out, you might as well address all these ends, and you really sew them in the very same way. It'll take you a little while, but it's well worth the effort. Now we have 2 rectangles, and we're going to hold them lined up back to back, and then with the green yarn, we're going to work through the thickness of both rectangles. So we'll make a slip knot and draw the loop through the corner of both rectangles, so the front and the back rectangle. And then we're going to shrink it to size, make a chain stitch, and start making single crochet stitches down the long side of the rectangle. And we are going to work 1 single crochet stitch in every single stitch all the way down this long end. When we get to the corner, we're going to make 2 single crochet stitches in the corner, just 2. And then we'll start working single crochet stitches down the short end of the rectangle. We'll make another corner with our 2 single crochet stitches in the same place, and then work 1 single crochet stitch all the way down to this corner. Once we get to this corner, we'll just place 1 single crochet stitch in the corner through both thicknesses. Then we're going to work our way through just the top thickness up this way. Actually first in that corner we're going to put a second single crochet stitch, but just in the top rectangle this time, and then we'll do one single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way up, including in the first stitch where we placed a stitch from this round, and then we'll flip our piece over and work single crochet stitches all the way up here. And when we get to the first stitch that we worked in this corner, we'll join the yarn and fasten off. And then we will need to sew in our ends for the green yarn as well. And there you have your Autry Museum inspired Orange Crate label eyeglass case. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time.
The Autry Museum of the American West thanks our members and supporters.